Somebody asked me how to get a really lush vocal reverb without it overpowering elements of the song. So let me show you how to do this. So we have this track here and it's just piano and vocals. So we're gonna have to rely a lot on reverb and time effects to fill out the sound a little bit.
I'm late, but I'm here right now.
Now you may need headphones to fully appreciate how that reverb is sounding in the full mix, but let's solo the vocals for a second and listen to how they sound.
I'm late, but I'm here right now.
So if you want to get a really lush vocal reverb and you have your reverb directly on the vocal, that is your first mistake. Even considering that most reverbs have a mix knob, it's still not going to allow us to do what we want. Let me dial in the mix knob a little bit and you'll see how quickly the reverb overpowers the vocal.
I'm late, but I'm here right now.
Even at only 30%, it's already overpowering the vocal. So that's the first thing you want to do, is not have the reverb directly on the vocal track. You want to put the effects on a bus and you want to send the vocals to that bus. That way we can blend in the separate reverb on the bus, but still have the completely clean vocal up the middle. Now that's basically what the mix knob is doing, but putting these effects on a separate bus allows us to do a couple other things. So we actually have two separate effect sends here, and they're both doing slightly different things, but I'm using pretty much the same chain through them. It's just different levels of decay. So the next thing is we're not just using reverbs, we're also using delays. So we have delays before the reverb's on here. Let's hear what just the delay sounds like.
I'm late, but I'm here.
Now let's hear the delay with the reverb.
I'm late, but I'm here right now.
And now let's hear the reverb without the delay.
I'm late, but I'm here right now.
The delay adds a lot to the overall sound of the effects. When it's just the reverb on its own, you can almost miss it. It almost blends in a little too much. So adding a delay before the reverb really makes that effect a lot more audible. Now, I should also mention on the reverb, because we have that delay leading into the reverb, we've turned down the mix knob. If it was just reverb on these buses, then I would have the mix knob all the way up. But because we're also getting the delay, we're blending the reverb in with the delay. So now I know you're wondering why we need the separate bus to do that. Why couldn't we just open a delay before the reverb on the vocal track itself? The reason is because we also need to EQ the effects. That is the biggest thing in making sure that it doesn't become overpowering, is just putting an EQ on it. So we have this EQ on the effects bus after all of the effects. We're taking out a ton of low end out of the reverb. We're also taking out a lot of upper mids right where the vocals cut through the mix. And then we're boosting some top end so we can hear the top end of it even more. This is why we need to send the effects to a bus, because if you just had them on the main vocal track, even if you had the mix knob turned down, you wouldn't be able to EQ just the effects. If you throw an EQ after the effects on the main vocal chain, then you're also EQing the main vocal. But by sending the effects to a bus and then opening an EQ on the bus, we can EQ just the effects. So this is allowing the main vocal track to cut through in the upper mids. It's also preventing the track from getting too muddy with a ton of low end buildup. And it's making the effect cut through even more in the top end above where the main portion of the vocal is. So let's hear this without the EQ and then we'll kick the EQ on.
I'm late, but I'm here right now, and I'm begging for forgiveness.
Now let's do the same thing in the whole mix.
I'm late, but I'm here right now, and I'm begging for forgiveness. Won't you tell me how?
So this is the biggest step in making sure that the effects don't overpower everything in the track. This is the step that people don't think about. This is why we need to send it to a bus and not put it directly on the vocal. Because if we're able to EQ just the effects, we get the benefits of the effect without all the negative effects that can come along with it.